Hello, scrappers. I added about 16 pounds to my lead stash yesterday. Melted my wheel weights and a little bit of other lead that I had. Each of these ingots is probably close to 2 pounds, 0.03 ounces. So you can see I'm 8 ingots per tier, and I'm about 3 tiers deep. About 27 ingots in there, plus this little bitty one. 13 ounces, almost 3/4 of a pound. So it's that good. About almost 55, around 55 pounds in there. And other thing's getting heavy. I got a lot of the batteries tore down yesterday. Still got a few to go, 3 to go there, or 2 3/4. I did the other portion of that. That's 2/3 of it. There's 4 knobs there, so that's 8 volts. And I think there's 2 batteries in that one, but you can see that big one there's. This end of the battery casing is gone, and then you can see down here that end is gone too. So, and that's deteriorated. There's no way I don't think that scrapyard would touch these things. And got a bunch in here in the baking soda bath. Water was pretty dirty, but all of it settled down overnight. And you can see how I've been just kind of laying them in there where they're vertical, so the water should drain off. And what I'll do right from here, I'll pull them out of here, and I got a milk crate and just kind of stand them up in there. Okay. Wash some of the dirt off of it so I don't transfer quite so much dirt. There'll be less dross to scrape off on them when I get done. Excuse me. Yeah, we had a pretty good storm come through this morning. Knocked the power out for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But you can see the floor in the shop's kind of wet from the rainwater coming in. Yeah, that's a little piece of lead there. So we get out there here. I know you don't want to just sit here and watch me transfer this stuff. So I'll get in there and get that melting pot set up, and probably take 1 or 2 of these milk crates in there, and we'll melt this a little bit of lead. I'm going to be basically inside the shop melting this, but I got the door to the north opened up, and before I get started, I'll open the other door up for ventilation, and I can actually open the window or door at that end too. That way if the wind comes out of that direction, it'll help ventilate this. But I wanted to make a little note. I'm going to try to get some better equipment for doing this lead. Thinking about getting some fishing weight molds. Start making some of my own fishing weights. Who knows, maybe even sell some on eBay or something. But right now I'm just using this old turkey fryer burner. It does the job. Then a whole cast iron skillet. And one thing, if you get a bunch of lead in there, that thing can get pretty heavy. And you don't want to have to move it too far with 5, 6, 7 pounds of lead in there. molten lead. It's easy to shift the weight. That handle will get very hot. Even with welding gloves, I found what I pretty much have to do is I'll put those on. They're a little better insulated than these. These are Harbor Freight, three in a package, 3 sets in a package. So, and what I'll do, I'll wrap that around the handle, and then I got the other gloves on, so that gives me extra layer of insulation. And what I was doing yesterday, I was carrying it from there over to here to pour it. Today I'm going to set this table up so I'm right close to the burner so I can just pick it up and pour. But several of the ingots, I was just using this ladle and dipping it out, and it's pretty shallow, so I wasn't getting a whole lot in the ladle. It'd take about 5 scoops or so to make 1 cupcake ingot. So these things are getting pretty beat up, but usually I find these at auctions, thrift stores and stuff for pretty cheap. But even if you bought them new, they're maybe $8. So, and really that's not too, $8 for a mold is not bad. Of course, these have got pretty beat up from doing aluminum and having to beat them to knock the ingots out. But now they got that spray, they come out a whole lot easier. So we'll go ahead and get this fired up. I brought some of these in, and I should have probably put a bunch of these on the scale and get an idea how much I'm putting in there at one time. I might go ahead and do that real quick, pause the video and take a handful of these in. And I may not want to do the whole basket at once, maybe that much. So I'll go give that, put that on the scale, see what we got. And then, which actually I can do it right here, move my gloves. Yeah, I've got like 3 scales. This one goes up to 110 pounds. Zero it out. I'm doing all my talking now. Hard to talk with the respirator on. Yeah, we got 7 pounds, 9 ounces, 7.5 pounds. Let's see if we can get it up to 8. Oh, shoot, there's 9. About 9 pounds right there. So no telling how much dross we'll get off of that, but I guess we'll see. So we'll do 9 pounds for right now and just see where that puts us. Or if I put it all in there, because I can always dip it out. 12 pounds. So see, 12 pounds at 2 pounds per ingot, that would only be 6 ingots. So yeah, we'll go with 12 pounds. Sounds good to me. Okay, let's go ahead and light this thing up. Turn our gas on. It's just going to take a few minutes for everything starts to melt. So I think I'll go ahead and pause the camera, and I'm going to put this over by the propane bottle so that you can kind of see the table over there better too, because that's where I'll be pouring. Right now I just have my spatula over there and the spoon for skimming the dross off, and I got a coffee can to put the dross in. So I'll kind of make a note here that I added about 3 more pounds, or just under, of little metal studs or lead studs and stuff like that I had in a basket, so I threw that in there. So just kind of heating it up slowly. I had this thing full flame like that yesterday, and I did kind of second batch, and it was barely getting hot enough to melt on that second batch because the propane bottle started freezing up in the bottom. So I'm just trying to keep the flame down a little bit right now, and not really seeing anything melting in there yet. It looks like I might see a little spot right there, but these are good batteries, good cases on them. I'd either take them to the scrapyard and sell them, or take them to O'Reilly's or AutoZone, because they have a $10 store credit per battery, and guy always needs auto parts, so this is what I usually do with my batteries. But since these cases were pretty well weathered out and no acid in them, they're all empty and whatnot, so I decided, okay, I'll go ahead and tear these down and melt them, because I don't think the scrapyard would touch them in the condition they were in. So I'd make a note of that. I'm starting to see a little bit of melting. Yeah, see that shiny right there? That's a little melted spot. A little bit of melt right there. I say it takes a little time. And for those of you that never melted lead melts at 600 and some degrees. I should have looked it up this morning before I started that, but it's easy to Google. Yeah, it only takes 600 and some odd degrees. You're starting to see a little bit of melt, and as that melts and you get more surface area, pretty much just whatever's touching the pan is what starts melting first, and then as you start getting some melt, then it kind of builds up some depth, and then it'll start melting a little faster. But you can see right there, getting a little bit there and a little bit there. So, well, this is a lot of fun. Watched one video where a guy was melting lead, and he was knocking these apart, trying to knock all the stuff out of the middle. And I can see why now, because apparently all this stuff in the middle is not lead. It's just this casing basically here is lead. All this other stuff is just, I don't know what it is, but it's really not melting. So I'm putting like one in there at a time. melt and it'll just kind of break up real easy. I'm trying to carefully move this crud off to the side, but I can see there's some lead in it. I need to get me a cast iron skillet with the lid. That way I can pile a bunch of this stuff up here in on the edge, put the lid on, it'll get nice and hot in there, and then all the lead will work its way to the bottom. What I'm having to do is kind of try to work it over. But I can see there's little droplets of lead mixed in there. So I think I'm going to have to get a better setup for this. You know, when I watched that one video when he was beating these against a board, I thought, you know, he's losing a lot of the lead, but apparently not. So he must have seen a video I didn't, or he's done it before, one or the other. This is my first time doing batteries. The wife just hollered and said it was time to eat, so what I may do, I might try to put this into a crucible. Maybe the little electric furnace, because I can set the temperature on it, and I can get it pretty hot in there. It's 600 and some degrees, so I'll have to figure it out. Everything works in Celsius, so I'll have to figure out what it is Celsius, and then I can put this in there, kind of fill it up, and all the lead will work its way to the bottom after a little bit, and then I can try to dig out the ash, or the stuff off the top with a spoon, and then once I get down to the lead, I'll try to clean this up and pour an ingot real quick. Like I said, even my ingots right now, I'm just doing cupcake ingots where they're not going to be real pure, but I'll clean it up even more when I go to do, you know, remelt it and clean it up even better. Really, even for pouring the cupcake ingots, it would be a lot nicer if this was in a crucible. Try to get a bunch of this out of here real quick. I'll have to see if I can figure out a good way to knock that stuff out of there without losing, you know, the lead. It may just be time consuming. Okay, let's set this aside. There's a lot of weight on that can. We might get an ingot out of it. Okay, I'm going to swing over. And like I said, this thing is, that handle is probably very hot. Doesn't look like the flame's very high right now either. Need to get me a better cast iron melting pot with a lid. There's one ingot, and there's some ash and whatnot in there. It's not going to hurt nothing. Shut everything down. Like I said, my first time melting batteries. Once I get through these, hopefully it'll be my last. Lead's no problem, but yeah, I think I'll probably just have to stick this over a pan or something and get a little poker and try to somehow knock a lot of this stuff out of here. But that lead is just so brittle too. See, that are just, I don't know. I guess I could put it in the crucible. I'll have to think on it, but like I said, if I can get a lid on that, I could hold the heat in there and just melt it down really good and be able to get it off a lot better. So, not too bad for a first attempt on that. So, got to learn sometime, right? So, I got a couple other deals in there I might try to do another video on later and melt it. It'd get 3 or 4 cupcakes probably. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new here, and take a look around my playlists and stuff and see if I can earn your subscription. Remind everybody about the Amazon affiliate link in the description below. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.